Lydia, what's good?
What's good? It's Monday,
Listen,
y'all.
it's Monday, and listen, and I know you and I have been actually shooting messages back and forth from early this morning, and so I didn't even. I literally just walked in the house, not even 15 minutes ago, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna look the way I look all day long, minus the tie. So I'm really excited about tonight and just what's happening in the by next week, as a matter of fact, Lydia, huh? How many
10
days?
days, 10
Wow.
days away, only 10 days. And I feel like it feels like it went by quickly, but it feels like this has just been like this weekly journey we've been on. And I mean, the fact that you just pulled, like you just rolled in the house, that's just a testament of our commitment to this amazing, amazing, amazing thing that we're doing. I mean, it's not a game to us. Like, it's a lifestyle.
No question. And so, Lydia, for those who don't know, just remind people what's happening in 10 days.
So, in 10 days, I want y'all to understand that the Transformational Leadership Conference, it is one of its kind, never before done before, happening at Teachers College in partnership with Teachers College, Columbia University, the inaugural OSG Transformational Leadership Conference, right? And this is set up not just for educators, not just for principals, not just for administrators, leaders of all kinds. So if you're leading a charge, that's you, and that's across all walks of life. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I mean, we were considering cutting off registration on November. On I'm sorry, on March the 2nd, and just because it was in such high demand, we kept it open. And every day, there's more and more people that are registering for the conference. So I'm really looking forward to it. I really am, and probably just as much as I'm looking forward to that day, I'm looking forward to our guest tonight. This 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 guest of ours, I got a chance to meet this person um, last summer, and I can tell you everything about him screams transformational leadership. And I'm just glad that I've got a chance to share the room with him on several occasions and got a chance to get to know him, to call him a friend and things like that. And so I think we should bring up our guest. What do you think, Lydia?
I agree. I agree. No further ado, Dr. Brian K. Perkins, the
There
director
he
of the
is.
SPA program at Teacher College. Where you at, sir?
Wow.
I'm right
There he
here.
is.
Glad to be with you. Glad to be with
Wow. So listen, so Dr. Perkins, before we even begin, right? Spa. Just let people know this what is spa, how long you've been with spa,
you. Sure.
Columbia University and things like that.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And I'm just delighted to be here sharing with you tonight. And I'm really excited about the conference that's coming up. And I also want to just kind of publicly extend my thanks to you and the organization for thinking of us as partners in this work. Because it's going to take a lot of us. We talk about taking a village. It's going to take a village plus for the work that we have in front of us and the work we have ahead of us. So let me start with SPA. Now, I don't know if I really want to tell how many years I've been with SPA, except that I'd have to say I've been at Teachers College now for 16 years. Going in June, it'll be 16 years. So that means I started when I was 7 years old. There, but what I will say is, kind of to start, I was a professor at a couple other universities before I came to TC, but what made me first come to TC was about the long-standing history it has for the commitment to historically disadvantaged and underserved communities, putting out teachers and leaders that are committed to serve in those places. And so for me, it was not only coming home because I received my doctorate from TC, but it was coming home in a sense of being around like-minded faculty and administrators at a university that want to do this. Uh, Now, the second part, though, about the program itself, the program Summer Principals Academy, and I have to give credit where credit is due. a gentleman that was actually my dissertation sponsor. His name's Dr. Craig Richards. He's now retired from TC after 30 plus years. He moved to upstate New York, but I have to give him a lot of credit. After I left TC and I'm a professor at another university, he called me one day, and I always tell this story. He said to me on the phone, I have an idea. And that, little did I know, was him describing this idea that he had for creating a program specifically designed to train and prepare exceptional educators to take on leadership in the nation's most challenging contexts. So we had the New School project that had just started in 2005 or 4 in New York City. Many of you know about that, the New School um, initiative. But all over the country, there were charter schools starting, particularly in the South, getting in on charter schools. New Orleans had just started post Katrina, a all charter network, and so all over the country, education leaders not of the same background were required for new schools. And so after about 2 or 3 years, Dr. Richards proposed this to the university administration and got it through the state and gave birth to this program. I came on board in 2008 with the start of the new program. I was initially the director of the doctoral program. I was a faculty member in what is the Summer Principals Academy. But what I want you to know about Summer Principals Academy above everything else is that there are 3 strong pillars of this program, and they are diversity, and let me correct that, leadership for diversity, equity, and social justice. So all of our students who come in, first and foremost, have had to demonstrate that they have a commitment to leadership in those domains, and that they want to get even better at it. And then the last thing I'll say is that what is really innovative about the program, I think there are 2 things. One is that it is a model where our participants come in over 2 summers and get their master's degree. That's one innovation. The second is that there's no master's essay or thesis that's written. We actually put people in simulated groups so that they can design a new school. And that basically is a charter application is finished from beginning to end, where they work with like-minded classmates to design their idea of a school in a real setting. And so those 10 weeks, 5 weeks in summer 1, 5 weeks in summer 2, while they keep their current job, they go through a transformational program, not transformational in the sense that it's just that they're going to come out leaders with a mindset that we have to change schools, that they actually come out as transformed individuals, transformed educators. And so, Dr. McKeezy, you have been now an adjunct for us for a summer, and you saw for yourself the energy and the commitment that these individuals who are in the program exhibit. And so they are ready not only to change the world, but themselves have made a commitment to get better at the work that they are now doing. So that, in a nutshell, is the Summer Principals Academy, and our commitment to those domains of equity, diversity, and social justice are why this was a perfect partnership for us with OSG, because I know that is central to your mission and your vision to improve for the future.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you for sharing that, Dr. Perkins. And, Little do people know that I have a little story about my experiences at Columbia and with Columbia University. And so just across the park in Morningside on 120th Street between Manhattan and Morningside, I actually started my education career there as a school aide at PS 180, right down the block, right through the park. And I remember sitting in, at that point, I really didn't know what direction I wanted to go by way of my career. And I remember going into a counselor's office during, I had some downtime, and there was a book on her bookshelf, and it was called Nothing's Impossible by the late great Dr. Lorraine Monroe, who's also, gone through those hollow grounds of Columbia University. And it was at that moment, Dr. Perkins and Lydia, that when I read that book, at that moment, I was transformed. I knew at that very moment what I was going to do. I had such a great experience there. My other mentor, Dr. Peter McFarland, is also a graduate of Columbia University as well. And so, Dr. Perkins, when I decided to go back and finish up my degree and started to teach, I came back to that same school where I was a school aide and I was a teacher right there at PS 180. And as I am teaching, I remember like it was yesterday, I was teaching math in the afternoon. Who walks past my door and ultimately in my classroom was Dr. Lorraine Monroe, who we all know and love, who started the Frederick Douglass Academy in Harlem, who
Yes.
also wrote another book, the Monroe Doctrine. So I can tell you, to be able to go back into the Columbia University, the facility as an adjunct professor, and now as a founder of an organization that's partnering with TC is beyond an honor. And so I just wanted to just tell you how grateful I am that you gave me the opportunity this past summer to be around Columbia, but more importantly, around some of the most amazing and aspiring leaders that are going to make a tremendous impact in education. It's funny, Dr. Byers and ourselves still stay in touch with many of them through LinkedIn or text messages and things like that. And so it's really, when you said energetic and you say just some of the brightest people that they were, man, it's special. So I just wanted to again thank you publicly for allowing me into the Columbia University TC family, and just tell you that you truly brought my world complete circle. Thanks, thank you for everything. I appreciate that.
Well, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you. And our students are still raving about the course that you co-facilitated with Dr. Baez. And,
Yes.
We're looking forward, hoping you can join us again this summer. So it was indeed a pleasure to have you.
Absolutely. And so, Lydia, you kept saying to me, and you've said this on a few lives already, about how important of an opportunity this is for us to have our very first conference at Columbia University. And I to this day, I still can't tell you the magnitude of what's getting ready to happen next week. But you clearly see it, and Dr. Perkins clearly sees it. And so I know you had a question for Dr. Perkins around that. And so I said, I'm really excited, but I just don't even understand the magnitude of what's getting ready to happen.
Well, let me share, right, from my lens as a Black woman, right? Let me share, Black man, what I see, right? So, like, literally, why is my question? Like, why? Why is this so important right now for this coming generation? When we think about the fact that never before have we seen, we talk about all the time this sort of need for, as African Americans, to be in the right places and spaces, right, and to take up space and have a seat at the table. And here we have these amazing Black leaders who have the privilege to be at the table and make room for everyone coming directly behind them, right? And like, if we think about never before done, why do we think, Dr. Perkins, I'm glad that you shared sort of the intentionality around the SPA program. Why is it so important when we think about this incoming generation of transformational leaders? Some of them have sat, in leadership positions, and some of them for the very first time, this may be, kind of a straight shot in their education. Why is it so important? Like, what do you see as far as the level of impact when we think about the level of impact for this incoming generation? Why now? Why is this so important?
Right. For me, I think um, I have I have seen a number of leaders who really have gone to the back burner of in education, where if they were thinking about making substantial changes to schools, that this whole idea that things are different now. It is certainly true that students have a lot of opportunities, and for many people, they believe that students have more opportunities today than they ever have. Um, the For me, the reason why now is so important is that we cannot forget that we this isn't over. The the press for diversity in our classrooms, but among our leadership ranks, the press for equity, not just equal opportunity, but an equitable opportunity because of the past uh, vestiges of past discrimination and the lack of previous opportunity, and a mindset that social justice is an imperative for us. Believe it or not, there are a number of people who really believe that we've arrived, meaning that we have people of color who are in some spaces that are able to produce great books and articles. There are all kinds of things that that we have accomplished, but you'll have where people also are still behind in a lot of places. And I can take we don't have to go out of the country. I've had people often ask me, because I've been a visiting professor in South Africa, and I've had people say, I just it's hard for me to believe that children learn in classrooms that are outside or what have you, and they they don't have breakfast, or they don't have lunch. And he said, I would love to go and try to help some of those families and some of those communities overseas where they need help. And then when I tell people, well, if you really want to help, and you don't have to go overseas, we have right here in our country, we have some of the same needs. And so it's so important to get to the real simple answer to your question is that it's important for us to do this work now, to bring a level of awareness to these aspiring leaders now, is because if we don't, we fall behind. And that's something that I don't want to see happen on my watch, is that I want to make sure that our we have representative leadership at the table. And so I'm always trying to pull up another chair. And so that's why I thought it was great for us to partner with OSG.
Wow. No, I appreciate that, sharing that, Dr. Perkins. And so, one of the things you and I kind of talked about backstage was, another thing we both have in common, is the love and affection that we had for our mothers. And unfortunately, last year, I lost my mom in April, and you lost your mom, I think it was in October.
Mhm.
And, just like transformational leaders who basically just know one speed, we never really took an opportunity to kind of slow down, right?
Right,
We appreciated the life that our mothers had, and things like that. But we also know, like, we legitimately just kept going and going and going. And so I think for those transformational leaders that are in earshot of us right now, I want to know, what is it that we can give them by way of advice as to how to handle, some of these unfortunate circumstances in life, and then at the same time continue to work as leaders as transformational leaders that we are.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that, and I think there are two points I want to make. One is that being a transformational leader doesn't mean that you have to put on, a cape and have a big S on your chest. You still are a human being, and you have to take time for yourself. Fortunately, a big aspect of our program at Summer Principles Academy is that we bring mindfulness and wellness mindset to our program. So what we mean by mindfulness is staying grounded and centered, knowing about our emotions and the emotions of others, making that something that we know how to prioritize ourselves and our families. And so that's one of the things that we train individuals to do. But the other part about this, for those of you who are already in leadership roles, is that it is worthwhile to figure out how to stay grounded and not feel like you're a machine that has to keep going and going. That the work is a call, but it also, you have to replenish yourselves. And so make time for yourselves. A gentleman years ago said to me, and I'll never forget our conversation, but I was at another university and he had decided to retire at one of the most exciting times, arguably, in the history of the university. That we had just gotten a brand new doctoral program. He was the dean. And I said to him, why now? Like, why in the world would you leave now with all the stuff for us to do? And he looked at me so calmly and like without any regret and said, I've came to a point that I realized in my career that there would always be fires. And he said, and I also realized that there would be other firemen. And it just made me, really reflect on that we are here to do our piece. And so figure that out. Figure out what your role is in advancing the movement, advancing the cause, making it that 1% better, as people say, every day, trying to make it that 1% better than you left your day yesterday. And that's what we as transformational leaders need to live up to, not having a diehard battery implanted into our backs, but that we know, like, some of the best leaders know how to set boundaries and know where to draw the lines about this is what I can do today. I have to replenish, I have to sleep, I have to eat. Educators are notorious for abusing themselves when it comes to eating or taking care of themselves at the expense. They want to take care of others. And what I'll just add to that is that, and I'm sure most of you who are listening have already heard this colloquialism about putting the mask on yourself first. But I want to underline that, in that it is absolutely true. It is kind of counter what we've seen, and we have to really fight against ourselves, because all we've seen is leaders that have sacrificed into the end. But there's a lot of truth to the idea that you cannot help someone else if you are lacking the oxygen you need to perform and act for them. So I live by that. I try to make sure that I am putting the mask on myself first, getting my rest, making sure that I'm healthy. I try my best to eat as well as I can. We all have our guilty pleasures in terms of food, but trying to do the right thing so that I can be here to fulfill what I think is a call and a mission on my life.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's good. That's good. And it makes me think about one of our sessions that we're going to be holding at the conference. And it's entitled Post-Pandemic Leadership. And so when we think about putting on the mask and we think about making time for ourselves and making room for ourselves, I would be remiss not to welcome Dr. Jackson to the conversation, as his session is entitled just that, Post-Pandemic Leadership. So welcome, Dr. Marcus Jackson, to the room. How are you today, King?
Greetings. I am doing better than terrific. Sorry for my tardiness. I had to fill in for the superintendent at a level 3 grievance conference. I'm sorry, grievance meeting that was actually not on my schedule today, but when the superintendent says fills in, that's exactly what I did. And Dr. Perkins, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Man, I am great. And
Good.
you, when I logged on late, the first thing I actually heard was taking care of yourself and being 1% better. And I actually am going to discuss that thoroughly in my keynote, which is a statement I actually learned from my grandmother at the age of 6 that has been instilled in me. And that's simply be better than yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's simply be better than yesterday. And that 1% definitely falls in line. Secondly, you talked about how to win the day. And there are some things that we need to do as educators and educational leaders. And I'm going to discuss that as well in my post-pandemic leadership piece. And I'm super excited about this conference, and I'm super excited to meet you as well, because you hit the nail on the head. And many times as educators, we can go the entire day without using the restroom. We just put everything on hold, and that is dangerous. That is very, very dangerous.
Yes.
Wow. And so welcome, Dr. Jackson. You know, people who know, who have heard me speak about, about you and the work that you've done. I think I've always applauded your leadership, but the one thing that I applauded more than anything, and Dr. Perkins and I discussed this a little while ago, was your love and passion for your mom, right? And the things that I would see that you would reveal to the world about what was going on in your life with your mom and everything while you're running a school and you're running districts and stuff like that, and all that was going on with your mom. And 3 days ago, I think I saw you post something up there, a picture of your mom, right? Tell people to post a picture of your mom. And so, Dr. Perkins and myself also lost our mother a couple of months ago as well. And so we understand the importance that in transformational leadership, that people expect us to just keep transforming, even after something as tragic as losing a loved one like that and stuff like that. And so can you kind of talk to us just really, really briefly about, the impact that your mom has made on your life? And then just, was there ever a moment that you felt like, you know what, I don't know if I could, I might need a little break. I might need a little break after this.
Well, you've been following me for some time now, Dr. Dennis, and my mom is my everything. My mom and my grandmother. I'm still trying to figure out how she raised 8 by herself, 6 boys and 2 girls in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
I didn't sleep by myself until the 11th grade. I'm still trying to figure out how she did it. She's just my everything. And what made me open up to the world in regards to the challenges my mom was actually dealing with was I learned at an early portion in my career to be vulnerable as a leader. And that's actually a strength of mine, being vulnerable as a leader. Little did I know at that particular time, I was helping so many whose parents were dealing with autism. And the reason I started this opening up with my mom's situation, because my first year as a principal, my brother called me 17 times before he committed suicide. And I went to work the next day. At that particular time, I had a mentor because I was new on the block and I took over a troubled school from a principal who's been there for 32 years. And then here comes this brand new guy coming in, and I didn't cry. I wasn't upset that whole particular day. And my mentor asked me, was everything okay? And then I shared with my mentor what was actually going on. And she said, are you going to call your staff together and actually explain to your staff what happened to you? And I said, no, they don't need to see me at my weakest point like that. And she said, you're being selfish. And I was like, excuse me? She was like, you're being selfish. If your teacher was going through something like that, you would want to know. So I called my staff in, and my staff welcomed me with open arms, and we cried together. And I didn't have an office referral for 5 months.
Mhm.
My team rallied around me, and I learned at that particular time as a leader, it was very important for you to be vulnerable. And I took that lesson with me. And as I stated, brother, you've been following me for some time now, and that has been sort of my secret weapon. I always operate from the effective domain first. I'm all about the people, uplifting the people. And as Dr. Perkins actually stated, taking care of myself and also teaching my staff how to take care of themselves, and everything else fall in line. I focus on the people as opposed to the percentages. If you take care of the people, the percentage is going to fall in line.
Sure, sure. I'm glad to hear what you just said, particularly about your focus, your kind of real laser focus on yourself, and both from a standpoint of being vulnerable, but also that human recognition that I have things happen to me in my life just like everyone else. I've had a number of people that I've coached and talked through, and they've been all over the U.S., but also in other countries where they've been in executive leadership roles. And some people, but I've noticed that there's been a growing population of people in the U.S. that have been talking about toxic workplaces, have been talking about being burnt out, and I, not I don't want to judge anyone's circumstances, because we could all find ourselves in places we didn't think we would be. What I want to make sure that people who are not in those spaces is that you have to show up every day intentionally saying that this is not going to be a toxic workplace. You have to show up every day intentionally believing that you will have a healthy culture in your school, and that you're going to do the kinds of things necessary to make them and to have them sustained in that way. And so your longevity is not just attributed to some kind of luck or happenstance. Your longevity has to do with your intentionality to be in this for the long run. I get so disappointed when I hear people who have been unbelievable leaders and they talk about things like, I didn't take care of myself, I didn't eat right, and the job did this. Some of it means that you have to take responsibility for yourself. Not, you're in a leadership role. You cannot. I tell people, it's like, it's not okay. You can't really have a bad day in that way. You have to take care of yourself and keep that as a priority so that you will stay healthy. And we hear it. And Dr. McKeezy, you just said it also. We hear it all the time where people have adverse health outcomes because they have not taken care of themselves while they were in these roles as teachers, as school leaders. And so I just implore those of you who are listening that are current leaders, is in order to sustain yourselves, you have to intentionally do that. And it's not going to happen by accident. You're not going to accidentally be healthy. You have to make an effort at this, just like you would anything else.
No, thank you for sharing it, Dr. Perkins and Dr. Jackson. We share a very good mutual friend in Dr. Melissa Chester, who made the connection with you and I. And as we talked about this conference, and Dr. Perkins, we're partnering with he and SPA and Columbia University. But when I reached out to you by way of Dr. Chester to talk about you being a critical part of this transformational leadership conference, you jumped at it. You jumped at the opportunity immediately. Like it wasn't a second thought. It wasn't let me think about it. This was definitely I'll be there. And I want to just say openly and publicly, thank you so much for doing that. And so now that we are 10 days away, what do people got to look forward to, Dr. Jackson? What I mean, we know you. You know, there's something about an educator who loves children, but it's another thing. You know, when they see a Dr. Jackson, go back and, like I said, go back in his Facebook and things like that, and go see him dancing with the kids. Man, he's a talented individual. But what is it that people got to look forward to in 10 days when they see you at the conference?
Definitely tons of energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. There's a couple things that you're automatically going to get when you're around me. We're going to do two things. We're going to laugh, and we're going to learn. I want to share some specific strategies that I actually utilized before the pandemic. Something I've actually done as principals, and even my leadership role at the district level. One of the things I'm most important to share with you guys is how to develop a strong mental health and wellness plan with your staff. It was something that I've always done. From the beginning. As I mentioned, I was always focused on the people as opposed to the points and percentages. People thought I was crazy when I would actually say that. I moved to Louisiana years ago to take over 14 low performing schools, and they asked me, what was the first thing you're going to focus on? And I said, mental health, mental wellness. This all before the pandemic stuff. And I was able to successfully lead the school, those 14 low performing schools, which have been performing for years, not only through COVID, but through 2 devastating hurricanes and an ice storm. And we've had stellar test results from actually taking this approach. So I'm excited to actually bring that plan to individuals. Post-pandemic leadership. I came to this particular district as the chief academic officer. I was asked once again, what are you going to do to move our schools from a low B school district to an A school district? I said, I'm going to focus on mental health and mental wellness. I did that with principals. I actually did that with the district staff. And boom, we were 2 points from being an A. And we had the highest 3rd grade test scores that we've had in 15 years. So I'm excited to share all those strategies on how to get your people to focus at an optimal level. And if your people are focusing at an optimal level, the school is going to rise to an optimal level, and the students will perform at an optimal level. So I'm bringing all of those strategies with me, and I'm giving away tons of my books. Nothing's for sale. I'm giving away books on social emotional learning, my books for principals, for assistant principals, and I'm just ready to gain some knowledge myself, because I'll be attending several sessions as well.
There you go. And so I was, I got your book a couple of weeks ago, man, and it's truly, packed with a great deal of resources for everybody who's in attendance. And so I think what's so critical, I think Dr. Perkins and Dr. Jackson in these conversations is just understanding the purpose behind a conference, right? And I think what you said, Dr. Jackson, about bringing the energy and bringing laughter, it's just so important to a conference. And I don't want anybody to mistaken this type of conference, this OSG conference, is one where you're just going to be sitting down the entire time. We expect that the energy was going to be high. I expect that even those that after you present, that you would go and sit in other people's workshops and presentations as well. So I could just tell you, Lydia, what I'm really excited about, again, more than anything, is the fact that we were able to pull something like this off, and knowing that in about a week and a half, we will all get a chance to see one another face to face and be able to say, like, wow, these people weren't just amazing on a live, but these people are amazing in person. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Same. I'm thoroughly excited. I mean, and Dr. Perkins, rapid fire, I just want you to, one more time, just if you could stress for, and I'm going to say the folks, because I want you to name the who. Why is it so important for folks, whomever they may be? You can name that. Why is it important for them to be in the building in 10 days on March 17th and 18th?
I mean, this is going to be a conference that is about adding to our colleagues, both veteran and aspiring leaders, and we hope to impart a great deal of knowledge that will help them become better in transformational leadership. We have so much to add, and so everyone from the person who might be a teacher who has their eyes set on that principal's office, all the way through superintendents. There's something for everyone in this. So everyone should be in the house that really is interested in making sure that our nation's families get what they need and deserve from the leadership. So I'm just excited to be a part of this with OSG, and there are so many brilliant leaders that are going to be present, like Dr. Jackson, Dr. McKenzie, Dr. Baez, to name a few, that are just going to be dropping nuggets of inspiration and knowledge that you got to be there to catch them. So I think everyone, there's something for everyone that's in education for this.
And don't forget the entrepreneurs, right? Because if you're leading the charge, even as an industry partner, I stress that all the time. Right. I think I realized in an OSG meetup one day, as Dennis was talking about the term of leadership. And yes, I know I'm a natural born leader. You know, as a little girl, they said all the time, oh, she runs her mouth. You know, she's a natural born leader. But when you think about just the intentionality and by definition, what it means to be a leader. I was literally today years old when I realized, like, I too, as an industry partner, am a transformational leader. So I encourage even the entrepreneurs, get your tickets, run it up, get it into the building, because we too fit into this category.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Dr. Jackson, your turn. Your turn, Dr. Jackson. What?
Rapid fire.
Again, you said immediately when I asked you, come on board with us, and you said absolutely. Again, just remind people, based on what you know, what is it like to be a part of a conference like this that's going to be held in the hallowed grounds of an institution like Columbia University Teachers College?
Well, I've actually read the agenda, I read the lineup, and I'm ready to learn. Yes, I have the books. Yes, I have the knowledge. Yes, I have the expertise in a variety of areas, but I'm a sponge for knowledge. So I just can't wait to engage in dialogue in the conference rooms. I can't wait to attend sessions, and I can't wait for people to ask me questions, and I'll be able to provide them some advice, like so many have done with me. My motto in this field of education is that our choices affect their chances. So I can't wait to get around a great deal of like-minded individuals such as myself, so I can make better choices.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all heard it. We've been bringing it to you week after week. Mm-hmm. Listen. We usually say I don't want no smoke, but I'm telling you want to be in the room because it's going to be real smoky. Come get the smoke, okay?
Wow.
So you know how we do.
Yeah. OSG. You know it is often imitated. What?
Never duplicated.
So thank you. I thank everybody for showing up. I thank everybody for being. And again, for you all who don't know these two gentlemen, I implore you, go Google them, go LinkedIn, go on Facebook, go on social media, and you'll see how dynamic. And there's so much to look forward to. So thank you so much, Dr. Perkins. Thank you so much, Dr. Jackson. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. And again, let's just continue to transform the leaders, not only every single day in our current environment, but definitely next week when we meet with them at Columbia University. Much love, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah. Peace.